Hello,
Good
good morning.
Even if it's not morning.
No, it's not. Yes, it still is. It's 11.
No, 11, 15
Yeah,
past
it's still
11.
morning. It's not noon
Yeah.
yet.
So good morning from Skopje.
Good morning from Poznan. It's
How many?
cloudy and rainy.
Oh, in Skopje is sunny too. So
Ah,
it's sunny. It's about 15 degrees, but in my balcony, on my balcony, there's about, I don't know, 30 degrees
why do you say on your balcony?
because
Why do you say
there's
such a
the
big
sunny
drastic
side.
difference? Oh,
Because
okay.
there's the sunny side of the building.
Okay.
So on the balcony there is about 30 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a disaster, when it comes to
In the
summer.
summer?
But for
Okay.
example, now it's something amazing.
I'm
So
sure
I
it
like
is.
it.
So
I
you
like it
feel
very
good.
much. But coming back to the point, even if it's not the point, my cousin asked me about a pattern for a blanket because she wanted to crochet a blanket for her granddaughter. And
Mm-hmm.
when you ask me about a pattern for a blanket, my brain is like, yeah, 500, patterns for blankets. And then I asked her about the purpose of the blanket, even
Oh,
if
yeah,
maybe
that's
for
very
you,
important.
yeah, that it's just a blanket, but blanket, it's not just a blanket. It's not
Of
just
course
a
not.
blanket. It's so diverse thing, and you can crochet so many different blankets
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the type of the yarn. So you can use cotton
Oh,
yarn,
gosh.
you can use wool yarn, you can use acrylic, you can use, I don't know, mixed yarn, you can use whatever you want. You can make blankets, so you can make a kind of very tough blankets,
Tight.
tight blankets,
You know
or lazy
tights? You know what
blankets.
are tights? There
Tight.
was a movie called Robin Hood and Men in Tights or something.
Yeah, men in tights. Yeah, men in tights.
Rajstopy.
Right, stop it. And and
Because they are very tight. It's connected to
tight.
the skin. It's like,
Yes,
it touches the skin. And your legs
yes.
are very slim.
In Croatian you have a word like tajce. I to są po
Mm.
polsku takie leginsy, tajce.
Okay. So, like,
Leginsy.
okay.
Oh, so tight. Okay. And then I told her that okay, I will. For me, it will be definitely easier just to record some patterns for you,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sure I will do it. I would do it in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized that one
Not
pattern, second
really.
pattern, third pattern, fourth. Maybe it will be better. That would be better. That is not. And at the end, yesterday, I was filming 4 patterns
Gosh.
for blankets, and recordings are actually ready, and they are good. I think they are not excellent. They are not professional, but they are good enough. Good enough.
Yes,
And
yes.
you know that if
That's our
something,
motto. Good enough.
yeah,
Good to
so they're
go.
good enough. But now I just have to edit
Edit.
them
Mm-hmm.
and put on the internet, and then I want to edit our own recordings, so with Sophia, but I do not have the intro. But I decided maybe at the beginning not to have the intro because I have no idea
What
about the
kind of
intro.
intro?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I have only the idea about the first slide, and it's three girls, three generations. Just a second, just a second,
Yes.
just a second. The idea is three girls, three generations, three ways of action.
Oh my goodness. So we're gonna contact action because we want to use them in action.
Yeah, so girls in action, girls, generations in action, in
Very
action.
good.
Yeah,
Because we're
but
in action, in the shop action.
yeah, in the shop action and in
In
action
action.
and in
Yes.
action. But the point is, I have only the
Amazing.
first slide.
That's
I need three
that's good
more.
to go. It's gonna evolve in the future.
So maybe okay. So maybe for the beginning, it's okay to have just one slide. So three girls, three generations, three. Uh,
Ta-da.
yeah, free once again, three ways of action. Yeah, three
Three
girls,
ways
three
of
generations,
action.
three ways
Good.
of action. Or maybe you have a different word for ways of action, ways with
No, sounds
G
good.
in the beginning, three G's of action, three of action. Okay, we will find something.
Mm-mm.
We will
Nothing
find.
comes to my mind.
free goes of action, free goings of action, I don't know. We will see.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see. I wanted to say yesterday, but it was not yesterday. Even if I think it was yesterday, we were talking about about the characteristics of toxic families and toxic
Yes.
works. And I was thinking about I was thinking about it yesterday, actually, after my therapy session. That in fact, if you were born and if you were grown up in a toxic family, it's probably it's probably that you will find a kind of toxic relationship in your work, so in your work environment, and that you will be that for you it will be more, I can say, that your working environment will be toxic too. And I was thinking about that, for example, if you are a boss and you came from a toxic family, and for you all of these toxic patterns are something normal, because for a person from a toxic family, all of these patterns with that someone is crossing your feelings, etc., etc. So the whole I
Yeah, I'm losing you a bit. Ashu, Ashu. Ashu. Ashu, I'm losing you. Or I have just lost you, actually. Asha. Houston, I can't hear you. Okay, now Houston, I can hear you. Hi.
Okay, I can hear you too. So it was about, I don't know, 30 seconds
Probably 10.
break.
I just
Maybe.
managed to say, Asha, I lost you, and hello, Houston,
Okay,
we
I
have a
lost you
problem.
too. Okay, so now
Yes,
imagine that you are a boss and you
yes.
can create your own company, and you can, or if even if it's not a company, but just, for example, I don't know, an
A
institute,
department.
laboratory,
Yeah,
etc. Yeah,
exactly, whatever.
department that you are. And if you are from this kind of family, it's very probable that you will organize your work environment according to all of these toxic or maybe just unhealthy rules.
Yes.
And it means that you will be unconsciously trying to find people which are from toxic families, because they will accept your rules. And if you find someone who is not from the toxic family, after, I don't know, a month, year, 2 years, he or she will just quit, because it's not possible for that sort of person to stay in an unhealthy environment. But
Yes.
I was thinking about that if you have the if you have the possibility of creating your company, of your department, of just your working environment, because you have the legal right. For example, you are the boss and you are just choosing, for example, your co-partners, your workers, etc. You will be choosing people with this kind of the level of agreement for this kind of rules.
Yeah. But you know what's terrifying, I think, to what you're just saying, is that these people will feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Ironically, they will feel comfortable in these conditions. So even that
Yes.
they have been created to be toxic, so to speak,
Yeah. But
you're
they.
inviting a person to that toxic environment, and he is
Yeah.
going to, or she is going to feel comfortable in that environment.
Yeah.
Isn't
It's a
that freaky?
yes, it is, but I think it's a kind of drug influence, because when you are
Addiction.
when you, for example, use drugs, you feel that you need it, even if you are aware of the fact that it's not healthy for you, it's not good for you. You can feel this periodically relief,
Yeah.
and you could feel this periodically sense of happiness. And without all of these drugs, you are not able to feel it.
And
To feel
exist
it.
or function or think or
Absolutely,
breathe even
absolutely.
sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the most important, I can say, characteristic of, let's say, toxic or unhealthy family, the point with boundaries. And we said that we will start with boundaries.
Yes,
And
we did.
what I wanted to admit and to tell and to underline that for me, boundaries, when it comes to myself, the idea of boundaries is absolutely I'm absolutely unfamiliar with boundaries.
Setting them.
Yeah, I understand what boundary is. So
Of
I
course.
understand that it's a kind of limit that, for example, that's my land, that's your land, that's my territory, that's my fence, etc. I understand metaphorical boundaries
Yeah,
and real boundaries.
scientifically.
I understand it, but the point is that I could not feel my boundaries. I cannot feel the word boundary when it comes to my when it
Entity.
comes to me. Yeah, when it comes to my entity. And when I was talking about it with my therapist, she said something like that. There's a kind of, if I do not understand it, there's something inside which which disturbs me, which so jakby przeszkadza mi w zrozumieniu, w poczuciu tego, which
So it
drives
gets in the way, of
gets
understanding.
in the way, yeah, of understanding. And when I was listening
Fully.
to the Phoebe's speech,
Yes.
Heidi's speech about boundaries, there's something which I like and admire, and I'm very grateful for her to recording this speech about boundaries. Because, and as she said, and her therapist said, boundaries are supposed to make your life better. Yeah,
Yes.
so boundaries are supposed to make your life better. But when it comes to my own boundary, I do not feel boundary at all. I do not feel it. Where's my boundary? So, for example, my therapist asked me about my body. Is it my boundary? And for me, it's not a boundary. My body, it's not a boundary. My body is a place when the world and my inside body
Touching each other or
touching each other. So my body is a kind of encounter of the world. So for me, I cannot. I just cannot feel it. I just cannot. I'm not familiar with this term. And then listening to Heidi's speech, she said something like that. That she is thinking about boundaries as about limits of our own authenticity,
yeah.
and that
That's
it
also pretty complex, right? Because
yeah
what is your own authenticity? I mean, that's like also your values, who you think
yeah
you
and
are, and
she tried to explain it via the feeling of happiness, the feeling when you say yes when you feel yes, and you say no when you want to say no, and not saying yes when you are saying no. So even if it is,
self-abandonment. Yeah.
yeah, and it will be a quotation from Heidi. If I'm
Yes.
operating within my boundaries, I'm operating in a way that's true to who I am. I'm in a place where I'm sharing myself authentically, where I am being honest about my reactions to things, where when I'm letting other people know in a true, direct way what I am and I'm not happy to take and do. And I'm not having to alter my behavior in any significant way in order to stay in relationship. So it's definitely, it is referred to being honest with yourself, but it means, if it's okay and if it's true, it
Yes.
means that you have to know you,
Yourself.
that you have to know yourself, that you
Yeah.
have to, but if yourself is hidden by toxic shame, you are not able to know yourself because you are and that's my I've just made this note this morning, just a second.
Yes.
I have it here. So because I was thinking about when she was talking when I am listening to her, and maybe not each sentence, but almost each sentence gives me some impression, brings me some thoughts, brings me some new ideas.
Insights, yeah.
And when it comes to this very thing, is that in fact I'm not able to feel boundaries, to feel my own boundaries, because I'm another person. If your authenticity is covered by toxic shame, because you do not have the access to your own self. So if you do not have the access to your own self, you have no idea about your boundaries, and you are not able to feel your boundaries.
We're back to square one. So like,
yes, and and I was thinking about something like that if I want to be clear with other people, where are my boundaries, where my boundaries lie, because she says something like that in fact we don't have to set boundaries, we just have to tell people where our boundaries lie, because they are all, because they are here, they are set it, they are
set all three of the forms.
Okay, so they are set, they are here. We just have to inform people about our boundaries. So about the place, the fence, about the fence. So about the territory where the boundary is. And now, in fact, we are coming back to the previous point we were talking about, and it was about self-intimacy. And the real intimacy between people, and about fake stories, and about toxic shame, and about the idea of rejection, that we are so afraid of being rejected. And then if we are so afraid of being rejected, we create a fake story about ourselves, because we want to stay in this very specific relationship, because we are afraid of losing this person, even if it's
dangerous.
it was high risk, high reward, and it was low risk, low reward. So even if it's low risk, low reward, even if it's definitely better to take more risk, so high risk and high reward, we very often choose the low risk, low reward, because we are very afraid of losing our partners, our friends, our family members. So just being rejected. And then I was thinking about that. Okay, if I'm trying to no, so in fact you are not able to understand your boundaries. So you are not able to understand and to see where your boundaries lie. So your own boundaries, where your boundaries lie, if yourself is hidden, is covered by, for example, toxic shame.
Hiding even,
Yeah. And then I realized that it was, that there are at least two very interesting animals. So it's insect. They are insects. The first insect is cockroach.
Cockroach. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes,
and the
cockroaches.
second insect is scarab.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. And in fact, for example, when it comes to cockroach, they live under. It's not underground, but they live somewhere.
Hidden, yeah. Behind the walls or in the basement.
Channels, in many tunnels, somewhere, and we recognize them that they live underground. Even if they do not live underground, they live somewhere there, hidden. And it's something. And I think that when it comes to me, for example, and when it comes to the second part of Phoebe's of Heidi's speech, so she said something like that you, and I want to check. Okay, I'm going too far outside of the boundaries of who I actually am in order to be accepted to someone, in order to please someone else, or I feel I need to do it to stay in relationship. Now
Yes.
I'm operating outside of my boundaries, and from my personal C-PTSD and therapeutic point of view, it's not outside my boundaries. From my point of view,
Yeah.
when
So
it
how would you
comes to my
define it?
boundaries,
Yeah.
if you use the metaphor of territory, if you use the metaphor of the fence, it means that you are not expanding your boundaries, that that you are operating outside of your board of your boundaries. But from my point of view, if you use this very specific metaphor, it means that you allow other people to cross your boundaries, to cross your fence, and to reduce your
Ah,
territory.
so to shrink it.
Yeah, it means it doesn't mean that you are extending your boundaries, that you are operating outside of your boundaries. But from my
Okay.
point of view, it means that you are reducing your territory and that you are tak przesuwasz, moving your boundaries closer and closer to the main area, and the main area is your body, so the home.
Sure. But then you're
It's your
referring
home.
to vulnerability. Is that what you're also saying, that you're exposing yourself and making yourself more vulnerable at the
I was
same
not thinking
time?
about vulnerability. Maybe it is, but I was not, comparing. I was not joining
Okay.
vulnerability
No,
with
it just came to my
this.
mind like a
Okay, okay,
question.
it's great. Yeah, but I was not thinking about it. I was thinking about moving boundaries closer and closer to me, to my body, and there will be the moment when someone will cross my body's boundaries,
Okay.
and then I have to hide more and more inside, and that's the point of toxic shame, and that's
Okay.
the point of arrested self authenticity, because I have to hide myself. So you are familiar with the term of dissociating. So you have to dissociate. For example, when you were raped, for example, raped, yeah, or when someone used violence, you have to dissociate,
Yeah, like disconnect, yeah.
because you want to survive. In order to survive, just to survive, so you have to disconnect yourself and enter something which is underground, which is under. So you behave as a cockroach or a scarab,
Cockroach. Cockroach.
cockroach
Yes.
or a
Yes.
scarab.
Yes.
Because when it comes to CPTSD survivors, they are like, these mythical scarabs. Because according to the mythical beliefs, uh, scarab a scarab represents the goddess named Hepri or Kepri, and
Okay.
the name of the goddess means the one who develops.
Okay.
It means that you have to hide yourself
Bury yourself underground,
if you
literally.
want to survive. But you are always a but, so you have to dissociate when you have to survive, because it's so overwhelming. You are just a kid. It's so overwhelming for you, and you will die. You will just, if not physically die, you will mentally die. So you will, so your mentality, your brain will not survive this pain. So you have to hide yourself like a cockroach, or
Cockroach,
you
yeah.
have to, and when it comes, for example, to scarab, it's like they are born from nothing. because the
Okay.
small scarabs, they are jak to powiedzieć, że one jakby rodzą się z kawałka niczego.
Yeah. Born from a piece of nothing or a
Tak,
piece of rock
tak,
or
a piece of nothing.
sculptured piece of
Yeah,
nothing. That sounds interesting.
so you have to hide yourself,
Yes.
and then, but the point is that when you lost all your boundaries, so when you gave all your boundaries, so it means when you were in a constant or long period trauma, both physical and mental trauma, for example, as a kid, and you had to hide yourself underground, but it doesn't mean that you cannot survive. Contradictory. It means
Contradictory to that.
contradictory to that. It's the only way when you can both survive and develop.
Survive and thrive. We have this nice slogan, you know, the
Thrive, yeah,
yes.
because you will hide and you will manage, you will dig the whole structure of channels and tunnels to survive and to feel free, to breathe. And from time to time, you are re-entering the world, but you have to wear the mask, because if you are a cockroach, because when you are a cockroach,
yes, like coconut, you know.
People are afraid of you, even if you do nothing for them. You are not beating, you are not, poison person. You just you think, but it's your way of thinking. You think because of the layer of toxic shame, you think that you are so disgusted, that you are so fun, that not fun, but jak to się mówi, bad, etc., that when someone sees yourself, the true you, this person will be disgusted. This person will be, like, oh my goodness, who is she, etc. So you wear the mask. You have to wear the mask, and now you are not cockroach.
Yeah. Cockroach, yes,
Cockroach. You are an insect, but I don't know. You try to be a butterfly. You try to be, I don't know, what else. No idea.
But
No
why
idea.
why do you have a face which like, oh, I don't know what else, like, ugh.
Because I want to I want to be myself, I want to be myself. If I am a cockroach, I want to be cockroach. I
Sure.
want. If you do not like cockroach
It's your
or
problem.
scarabs, it's your problem. But the point is that we have to wear the mask. We believe that we have to wear the mask because people are afraid of cockroaches, and we think we are cockroaches.
That's very deep, like, yeah, of course, it creates a vivid picture in your mind because you start imagining cockroaches and what they are and what they represent. So it's like with these layers that we were talking about before, with the tiramisu and cookies and peanut butter and yes, all of that.
Yeah,
So
and that's the reason I cannot. And it's not the point that I do not agree with Heidi, but I cannot feel the word extending boundaries, and I do not feel the word, for example, that I'm operating, as she said, outside of my boundaries. Because if I'm operating outside of my boundaries, it means that when it comes to the metaphor of territory.
territory, sure.
It means that I'm operating on your territory, that I am expanding my boundaries, that I have more and more territory, that my territory is bigger and bigger, and it doesn't mean that I do not feel good, because she said that it's very important to to understand. And she
Mm-hmm.
said something like that: boundaries, the fence that extends around my property.
Mm-hmm.
People can recognize what is my land and what is theirs land. But
Yeah.
when it comes to extending boundaries, it means that I'm entering your land, and that you are moving your boundaries closer and closer to your property. So if it's a fence of the whole property, there is the fence, there you have, for example, a meadow, there you have a kind of I don't know, garden, there you have, for example, a place when you play with your kids, and in the middle, in this mythical way of thinking, in the middle is the house.
Mm-hmm.
So you, as a body, you are the
Mm-hmm.
house. But
Yeah.
when you are not, but during your childhood, when you cannot express yourself, so
Mm-hmm.
when you try to express yourself, when it comes to our previous meetings. So
Yes.
when you try to say, for example, I don't like, I feel sadness, and someone
Mm-hmm.
tells you, no, it's not sadness, it's being selfish. It means being selfish. It means that you are moving your boundaries because someone does not respect your boundaries. You are moving your boundaries, and one day, and maybe from the very beginning, because it happens, as you know, someone
Yes.
is crossing your body's boundaries, and it means that you have to hide, that you have to hide deeper and deeper and deeper, and not extend your boundaries. You are not extending your boundaries. you are
Mm-hmm.
you are I don't know, you are losing your
I mean, they are
boundaries.
shrinking. Yeah, literally speaking, right?
Shrinking. I
They
like
are
this word. Yeah, shrinking.
disappearing. Mm.
You are just shrinking your boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
there's the moment when you have no boundaries. You
Mm-hmm.
have no boundaries. You are a person which is, I can say, conducted by other people expectations.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason
Mm-hmm.
I asked you for the painting, because
Okay.
you do whatever they want, just not to be seen as a cockroach. You do anything they want. So you are wearing mask, you are a butterfly, you are a colorful person, even if you do prefer staying at home and just laying on the bed and doing nothing. No, you know, I don't know, drink coffee 5 times per day with friends, you are going to the party, you are organizing party very often, you do whatever they want, because you are in the corset of their expectations, because you
Mm.
know, you think that if you say, I don't like it, I
Mm.
don't like spend time with you at this very moment, for example, because I'm tired or I'm sad, they will lose you, they will say, they will reject you, and
Mm.
the mask will fall down, and you will be the
Yes,
cockroach,
cockroaches.
and that
Mm-hmm.
will be the end of the story.
Oh my goodness, this is
And
when you dig deeper into it and you try to understand it, like when you're functioning in it, you do not
yeah,
realize that it's happening. But if you're
uh-huh.
trying to, uncover and discover and dig deeper into the mechanisms of this whole complex PTSD
And not
syndrome
only so this
phenomenon.
your early developmental wounding,
Exactly.
even if it's not CPTSD, but I think that early wounding, early developmental wounding, you know that it means that, because if it's not, if you are from the healthy family, where you were able to express yourself, so express your feelings, and of course you were taught how to respect others people feelings to others people. So when you respect others people feelings, it means that you respect other people's boundaries. They are not setting your boundaries, they are showing you where the boundaries lie. So for example,
Mm.
so that's my feeling, that's your feeling,
Mhm.
and now
Mhm.
let's see what we can do with these
Yeah.
two for example, contradictory feelings,
Extremes.
how we can
Exactly.
manage with them. But when
Mhm.
you feel that your feelings, for example, feelings of joy, excitement, are rejected by your parents because there is the fake story that if you show that you are so happy, etc., it means that you are selfish
Mm.
person, then you have to hide it, and it means that you are moving your boundary closer and closer, that you cannot show your own authenticity, and it means that your parents is
Mhm.
expanding, for example, that your father, mother, or I don't know, your boss is expanding her own or his own boundary on
Mhm.
your land. That's
Yeah.
the way I understand expanding.
Expanding. Yeah.
Yeah, expanding
Mhm.
boundaries. Uh,
Mhm.
because when it comes to the metaphor of territory and two properties and one fence, when I am expanding, I am taking your territory, and it means that you are reducing your territory. But it doesn't have to mean that you have to. I think so that you have to
Yes. Yes.
your territory on the whole. I can say property, for example, you can reduce your territory when it comes to your garden, but you will expand your territory when it comes to the, for example, when it comes to the meadow. So
Mhm.
because you have this very specific structure in your mind that you can expand your boundaries, for example, when it comes to someone's life. For example, you do not ask me about something, but I feel the pressure that I have to teach you about something, and I'm expanding my meadow on your meadow. But I'm allowing you to expand, for example, your garden into my garden. So
Mm.
it's mutual thing, especially I think, especially when it
Mhm.
comes to intimacy and intimate relationship. And we
Mhm.
were talking about it when I was at the airport. So when
Yes.
two people with early developmental
Wounding. You have
wounding,
an excellent memory. How do you do that, my dear professor?
I'm a folklorist. Being a folklorist means
Mm.
that you are oral oriented.
Yes, yes, I see that.
So
Very
that you,
important virtue.
two things, that you are oral oriented and that you are repetitive oriented. So each thing which is repetitive, you will remember it forever.
Gosh, I'm jealous.
No, because
Yeah,
you will
because
be
you're able to refer to, like we were speaking about, I would have to go into my notes to kind of,
but I have to go
refresh.
to my notes too. I have my notes too. I have
Okay.
my notes too, and
Okay, so we're
a
even.
notebook.
Oh my goodness, two.
Yeah, I have three notebooks here,
Oh
but the
gosh.
third one is I have no idea where. No, but I was just trying to. If you know,
No,
I
that's fine.
maybe it's
I'm
for
just jealous. I'm just expressing that I'm jealous that you're able to refer to the place. That's interesting. It's just a side remark regarding the fact that you're able to refer to the exact place and what you said at that time. Yeah,
uh-huh.
that's
I
just
thought,
amazing.
but I thought it's normal. It's usual thing. No, that everyone has it. Mm, I don't know.
Probably, I don't know, maybe something, I don't know, maybe it's just me that I'm recently experiencing, yeah, the fact
Okay,
that I'm
I
not
know.
able to strictly
So maybe
refer
I,
to
I,
something.
I have never thought about it, but maybe the reason is that when you try to understand something, you are so
Mhm.
involved in the subject that you
Probably,
are joining many things. Maybe
yeah, the
that's the
environment,
reason.
the place, yeah, your emotions, of
Maybe that's
course.
the reason. Yeah, and
Mhm.
yeah, at the airport
Coming back to the airport, yeah.
we're talking about the intimacy and two people with early developmental
The
wounding.
wounding, exactly.
And now if they are together, in fact they are extending their territories in some areas and
Mm-hmm.
reducing their territories in some areas. It means that they are crossing their boundaries in some areas and in some areas not. And
Yeah.
I like you know, so
It speaks to you more, yeah, more
yeah,
clearly.
I like
Mm-hmm.
the idea of the metaphor of territory and the boundary, but I do not like the idea of I like the idea
I
of
think
extending territory, of extending boundaries and operating without outside of my boundaries, but
yes.
not when it comes to my boundaries. So no, when it comes to something bad for me,
Okay.
even if it is bad for me, because
Yes.
if I think that I have the legal right for teaching you that for example, I think you have to have black hair. And why don't you have black hair? Blah, 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 blah. If you want to be a reasonable and, I don't know, nice,
Accepted by the society. Yes.
you have to color, you have to have your hair dye. Yeah. So you have to
Died. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dye and it's not good for me because it means that I am locating myself on the pedestal, but the point is that maybe, for example, I'm very afraid of something, for example, of being
Mm-hmm.
um, rejected according to my, I don't know, for example, religious beliefs.
Beliefs.
and
Yeah.
and you feel that, and each time when it comes to religious beliefs, you say, oh, Joanna, I think you should and I am reducing my territory and you are entering my territory. And I'm allowing you to reduce my territory
Mm-hmm.
because I was not taught how to show to other people that there is my territory. But you
Mm-hmm.
are not able to be taught to
Mm-hmm.
show other people where your boundaries lie, where if you were not taught to recognize by yourself when your boundaries lie.
Mm. Yeah, that's tricky. Yeah.
And you were not taught to recognize your boundaries
Mm-hmm.
if your feelings and your emotions were rejected by your caregivers.
Mm.
And in fact, I think that our conversations now, we have a kind of a circle. We has just come to the point, to
To the
the
beginning. Mm-hmm.
to the beginning. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I
yeah, of
like
course.
it, but I don't. But I. It doesn't mean that she's not right.
No,
So
of course. It's your
just,
interpretation,
I
right?
just
So,
I just do not feel her way of expressing, operating outside of boundaries. From my
mm-hmm.
point of view, from my C-PTSD experience, it's
Mm-hmm.
not operating outside of boundaries. I'm operating
Within.
more and
Within.
more within, my boundaries. Jakby to powiedzieć po angielsku, jest taki wiersz, there is a poem of Krzysztof Kamil Baczyński. He
Mm-hmm.
wrote this poem a few days or weeks before he's
Yes.
died in the Warsaw Rebellion, Powstanie Warszawskie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Warsaw movement,
Warsaw Rebellion movement, something like
rebellion movement. Yeah, yeah.
on
Mm-hmm.
zginął w Powstaniu Warszawskim. So he was killed in the Warsaw, yeah, movement.
Uprising, uprising.
Uprising, yeah. He wrote a poem, and in this poem there is something like, że on czuje, so he feels so strong, że krąg się
Yeah, yeah.
zacieśnia.
It's
So
getting tighter and tighter. We will.
so the circle is getting tighter and tighter, and the point is that I am operating within my boundaries, but my
Mhm.
boundaries, the circle of my boundaries, are tighter and tighter, and one
Mhm.
day there is no circle. There
Oh
is
my
no
goodness.
circle. I am
But then
out
there's
of
no
the
you because you're like strangling.
I am out of the circle. I have the
Uh-huh.
corset of people's expectations about my feelings, behavior, etc. And I have
Mm-hmm.
to hide in the
Mm-hmm.
channels, into the tunnels.
Yeah.
And from time to time, I am just re-entering the world, but with no boundaries, with the mask. I do not have to have boundaries because I have my mask. I am not there. I am not exactly there. I am there. I'm not there. I'm not here. I'm there. I'm
Wow.
not here with you. I'm here with my mask, but my authentic self is hidden there in the channel.
In the tunnel somewhere, yeah.
In the tunnel somewhere. Yeah. And I'm afraid of showing you myself because I do believe you, if I show you, you will see not me. So, for example, Joanna Renkas, but a cockroach. And you will reject me forever. Amen. It's
Oh my
the end
goodness.
of our class.
Gosh, that's so complex. And you leave me with these thoughts, and then I'm
Yeah.
like,
What do you feel better to leave you with nipples or with cockroach?
with nipples.
Nipples and bras.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness,
The
that
question
was.
about nipples and bras and
I
naked
was just
breasts or cockroach.
probably both of them are good. It's
What
like
do you
both of them.
prefer?
I don't prefer any. I'm open with all of them. It's like each of them has a different kind of context which needs elaborating. So
Yeah,
taboo topics. It's like a taboo topic, right? There's
yeah,
no good way to find a taboo topic. You always have to just focus on
yeah.
explaining it and going deeper. But like one thing, probably I would just maybe like to tell you what I liked was like with this neighbors, with the
Uh-huh.
neighbor concept that you're talking about and the fence concept. It's like there's always a gate,
Yeah,
so you can open it and then you
of
can let
course.
somebody in.
Absolutely, and that's
Yes.
great. That's really great. It and that's the concept of the true intimacy. And for example, from time to time, I want to do something for you, even if I do not like it. But if
Or if
I
you don't like me.
but if I feel happy with it, so if I have to make a
Yes.
favor for you, and
Mm-hmm.
the idea of getting favor makes me happy, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's the gate. It's the
Yep.
gate. But if I'm expanding my boundaries, so if I am just, taking, jak masz fence, to masz
Yeah.
te szczeble takie,
Yeah, the wooden
sztachety. What is są sztachety? So this, for example,
sztachety.
wooden pieces of the
Yeah, poles.
fence.
We call them wooden poles, yeah, or
Poles.
poles, just because they
If
can
you
be made
just,
of metal or wood.
yeah, so step by step, you are just one pole,
Oh, now you're
and the
making it
second
sound drastic,
pole,
You're
and the
making it
third
sound
pole.
drastic.
Yes, and for example, one day you can see that, for example, all of your
Oh,
cucumbers are not on your area, but on the area of your neighbor.
my goodness, that's terrifying.
Yeah,
That's
it's
terrifying.
interesting, but
Yes, it is.
I like the metaphor of the territory, but it's not as clear as she explained.
No,
I
no.
think so from my personal point of view.
Yeah, yeah, it's complex. It's complex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Take care. Have a nice Tuesday. Bye.
Have a nice Tuesday. Bye bye.